So thanks for giving me this space. So I think we all recognise that we've only got so much energy, so it's really important that we look at where we invest it. But before we begin, I would invite people to make themselves comfortable, to, if you feel safe to do so, to close your eyes, and just for a couple of moments, we're just going to do a wee exercise to bring ourselves into the moment. Just make yourself feel comfortable, and if you feel safe to do so, close your eyes and just breathe. We were born knowing how to breathe, and somewhere along the way, things just seem to get faster and faster. And it's important that we give ourselves time to pause and be and not be doing, to find our own natural rhythm. Like a butterfly spreads its wings to be re-energized by the energy of the sun, we too can be re-energized when we give ourselves a moment to pause and be and not be doing. To breathe in a way that fits with our own natural rhythm. Like waves gently lapping on the beach, leaves rustling on the branches of a tree, or an eagle as it rides the thermals, feeling the wind gently brushing under its wings. We too have our own natural rhythm. And in the business of the day, it matters, just like the butterfly, that we stop fluttering from one thing to the next and just stop, even for a moment, to rest and re-energize before we move on with the rest of our day. It really is important when we seek to build a kinder world for others that we make sure that kinder world includes us too. So in a second, we're going to come back into the session. If you want to yawn, stretch, do whatever works for you, but please, in the business of the day, every day, take moments to pause, because you do matter. What you do matters. And in a world that seems to be full of problems, please remember you are part of the solution. Focus on what we achieve, not what we've still got to achieve, because we do only have so much energy. And it's okay to take a rest. Thanks for listening. So a wee quick overview of the session is looking at an exercise that can check in with how your energy levels are just now, where you spend your energy and changes you can make, how to top it back up, some tips for having more energy, and a personal promise card. This is a very short session, but it's a session that can be delivered with your teams, with your organisations, with your communities, because sometimes it's short, simple solutions we need in a world that's became very complicated. So this is the battery dude. In conversation with one of the original founders of Men Matter, which is a men's peer support group in Drumchapel, we came up with this idea of the battery dude. Now he used to be this particular battery dude used to be a 6 foot tall display we took to community events, and we invited people to put post-it notes on about where their energy was just now and what topped it back up. But this is something that you can put on your screen as a screensaver. I'm happy to send a JPEG image And it's something that I do every day. And it's so simple. It's a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is completely wabbit, flat as a pancake, and 10 is so much energy you don't know what to do with it all. And it
Hilda,
helps.
sorry to interrupt. It's just the slides aren't actually moving. Are you going through the? Are you supposed
Yeah,
to be
you
going?
should be on to the battery dude now.
I know. So it's not actually moving. It's just still on the presentation mode kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah, maybe just try it again.
Can you see it? Let me see. Hold on a wee second. If I keep it on, can you see it just now?
Yeah.
Now, I'm just going to do as a wee experiment. See if I change the slides that way
Yeah,
without
that's
making it
worked.
full screen. What I'll maybe do is I'll maybe just leave it on this way. So scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is flat as a pancake and 10 so much energy you don't know what to do with it, and all points in between. And for me personally, I usually between a 6 and an 8 is where my energy levels sit. 9 and 10 occasionally, but realistically, 6 and an 8. And then when you think you've got a bit of funding that you think's in the bag and you find it's not, all of a sudden it drops to a 2. So there are days when you think, there are days when your energy levels can drop and you understand why that's happened. But having this as a resource to do every day makes you mindful of where's my energy. And if it's low, then it's how can I top it back up? So if 68 is a kind of average for me, if I've been at 7 or 8 and it's slipping down to 5 or 6, that sends me a red flag. What's going on just now? What's changed? If I can identify it, that's fine. But if I can't identify it, then I need to take a step back and think, why am I feeling so drained at the moment? And there's 2 parts to the battery exercise. And this is the second part. Can everyone see that slide, checking your personal battery? Can everyone see that slide okay?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can
sorry.
see that one.
Yeah, we can.
Super. Now, you can do this with a piece of paper, wallpaper, chart, whatever works for you. Draw a battery, and on one side half, where are you spending your energy? And the reason why I'm saying a roll of wallpaper is because it's amazing sometimes just how many things you invest energy in. So for the purpose of illustration, we have done this graphic. We've got housework, because you do more than one thing in housework, more than one thing in work, more than one thing in caring. So it's very rarely that we just have one lead, so it's very rarely in work we have one job and that's all we do. We can have numerous jobs, going to meetings, writing reports, direct service provision, development, design, applying for funding, doing monitoring reports, writing a policy, preparing board papers, the list goes on. Now, before you do this, do an exercise like the one that I just offered there about bringing yourself into the moment, put some relaxing music on and try and do it in a way that invites curiosity rather than it's something else that makes you feel overwhelmed. But once you've looked at all the places, where am I spending all my energy? You can then ask yourself, do I need to do that? Now, I have to admit, I'm very selective now about what meetings I attend. It's like, is this going to be something where I'm meeting like-minded people who we can share ideas, bounce ideas off of each other that then can make a difference in the work that I'm doing? Or am I going to a meeting where we just seem to go around in circles? There's more powerful people at the meeting with bigger budgets. The agenda's being driven by them and nobody seems to listen to a word that I'm saying. So why am I putting energy into that rather than investing energy into where I could be making a difference? We're all different, but it's looking at where are you putting your energy and is there some areas where you could be saving energy? The other side of the battery is, how do you top your energy up? Now, it's a bit like if you had a roll of wallpaper and you started your battery 8 inches in, you would probably go on for about, I don't know, 10 feet, about the amount of spaces that you spend energy. When it comes to how you top it back up, you might put in a couple of things like, oh, have a bath, or watch the telly, walk the dog. So So when you look at all the things that you spend energy on, and then you look at the things that you top energy back up on, then you can find, actually, I don't invest anywhere near the amount of time in re-energizing as I do in spending my energy. And is it any wonder that sometimes we feel flat as a pancake? So by using the battery dude, I'm just going back to the image again, having that 10-point scale, and also having your own personal, if you like, income and expenditure of energy. If your energy levels are dropping, and this is what I do, I go back and have a look and think, am I putting energy into something that really isn't going anywhere, and it's actually quite draining? Because I think we can all identify with the emotional feelings that sometimes go with what we do, and the frustration, and it's like, is this making a difference? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So it's looking at, well, if I have to keep doing that, what can I do on this side to top my energy up? Not just for work, but also for myself, for my family, and the other things that matter to me in my life. So we look at where we spend our energy, where we replenish our energy, and when our energy is feeling flat, practical things that we can do to bring it back together again. This little is actually a postcard, and I can send some round if people want them. Just email me your address and I'll post some out to you, because there's the read of it is a promise. But the ideas here came up from conversations with lots of different people about what energizes them, and definitely being active, connecting with people, and that gets a bit like what we said. That's why networks like this are important. Networks with kindred spirits, where you can offer peer support and learn from each other. Being creative in whatever way that works for you, and making time to relax and chill. There's a really good post. I thought I spent a lot of time in nature, but there's a really good post Karen put out through the Snowdrop Centre, some work they're going to be doing, encouraging people to look out the window, spend a half an hour in nature. And I was feeling particularly recently, and I thought, right, I'm going to make a conscious effort to get into the garden. I'm not going to weed, not going to do any chores. I'm just going to go into the garden for half an hour and sit. And it's amazing, given I do this for a living, how quickly you think half an hour has passed, and it's not even 5 minutes. So it's like, right, no, I am going to sit here and I'm going to do nothing for half an hour, apart from watch the birds in the feeding tree. And the difference in that half hour. Now, I intended to do it every day, the way things happen. I haven't done it every day, but I am going to try really hard to make a point of doing that. So sometimes, even when we think, oh, I'm doing all these things, it's not until someone makes a suggestion and you think, okay, I'll try it that way, that you realise, actually, no, I haven't been switching off. Because if I've stopped, I'm stopped, and I'm thinking about something to do with work, or something that needs done in the house, or a chore that needs done in the garden. But actually doing nothing, just watching the birds feeding, yeah, that was a new experience, and something I think we could all benefit from. 6 minutes a day reduces stress, can re-energise us. There's a workbook on our website if anyone's finding difficulty in sleeping. Doesn't replace professional advice, but it does give some tips to improve sleep. Having a sense of purpose is also really important, and that includes the purpose outside work, because social entrepreneurs and people that work in the third sector are caring people who want to build a kinder world for everyone else, and that's great, but they also need to remember they matter too. Use our energy wisely and making sure that our body's getting enough fluids and the food that it needs. Also, another little postcard that we've got around tips for setting boundaries, because again, when you're a caring person, when the world says jump, too often we say how high. And it's a lot easier to set boundaries than at the beginning, than start to set boundaries when people have when it's almost expected that you will do something. It then becomes hard, because then you can be left feeling guilty. Oh, I thought you were a nice person, etc., etc., etc. So recognizing that looking after yourself isn't selfish, and wanting time for yourself, even though this can feel like indulgence, it's not. Self-care is not self-indulgent. There's a whole separate workshop on setting boundaries. These are just some little tips. The main message takeaway, especially when you're looking at where you spend your energy, is how boundaried am I? Or is it I've written a blank check to the world that they can ask anything of me and I've got nothing left in reserve for me? It's important to remember in a plane, when the oxygen masks come down, if you put yours on first, you're not being selfish, you're staying conscious so you can help other people. So in life, it really matters that we do look after ourselves, because if we don't look after ourselves, can I look after anybody else? And this is a wee personal promise. Again, co-designed because we listened to the session I was doing earlier on this morning about volunteering, was about listening to people and then seeing what collectively we could learn and share and come up with together. But these were things that people felt help them get through the day. To smile once a day. There's a video on our site on laughter yoga, and it's about laughing even when you don't feel like it, because that's when you need it the most. It makes you laugh in itself. Making time to relax, learning to let go, and if you're holding on to something that you need help to let go, then seeking that help. Staying hydrated, strolling outdoors when you can, speak kindly to yourself, because all too often we beat ourselves up for what we haven't done rather than congratulate ourselves for what we have. Finding joy in the simple things, because at the end of the day, they can be there so much more often. Like that first cup of tea in the morning, watching the birds feeding in the tree, appreciating the fact that we're still alive, regardless of all the challenges, we're here and we can make a difference. And remembering when life is hard that this too will pass. Leave you with 3 invitations. One step to have a reflect on, one step you could take right now to recharge your energy. Also, one step to look at the collective energy of the teams you're a member of, because we can be in a good place, but if others aren't in a good place, we can find our energy is drained. Remember, I do some work with student nurseries sometimes, and they were saying about, they don't know why they went into nursing, because a lot of the time we're in placement. The more senior staff are in countdown to retirement. Some even have charts. I only have 2 years, 3 months, 5 days, 7 hours to retire. So if you're all bubbly and enthusiastic, but you're surrounded by people that are talking about how awful it is and it's only going to get worse, that can pull you down. So it's looking at our collective energy as well and how we inspire each other. And if you identify barriers to take the steps, then think, what can I do to overcome them?